Hi, my name is David Bergvinson, and for the August 10th, 2021 edition of the World Weather Watcher, we're going to be looking at weather anomalies around the world, as well as looking at yesterday's release of the Intergovernmental Panel Assessment Report number 6. So yesterday, a assessment report was released by the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change to look at the scientific evidence of man's contribution to a warming atmosphere. And the report found that, without doubt, human activity, especially the combustion of fossil fuels to power our economies, has led to an increase of approximately 1.09 degrees Celsius in our atmosphere above pre-industrial levels. And so the graph here is rather dramatic, that in the last decade, we've seen significant increase in atmospheric temperature, and with it, increased weather variability, because a warmer atmosphere stores more energy, it can hold more moisture, leading to increased variability not just in temperature, but also in precipitation. And so the BBC summarized the report by saying code red for humanity, where collectively we need to come together and take action on reducing greenhouse gases such as carbon dioxide and methane to slow down the increase in atmospheric temperature. Otherwise, we face even greater risks of weather-related disasters beyond those that we've seen already in the form of wildfires in many parts of the world, as well as flooding. One of the nice features of the report is a companion interactive map website that you can go to and look at the weather models to see how climate is projected to change over the next 20 to 80 years. You can use, for example, the Climate Model Intercomparison Project output number 6 to look at future climates for temperature, as shown here, or for precipitation. And you can also look at observed weather data as well through this interactive map website. Now, when we look to the observed weather data the last 30 days, we have been pointing out the fact that very dry conditions in Canada and the western United States has led to wildfires such as the Dixie Fire in California that are causing tremendous damage. And it's now the second largest fire on history in California. We see that dry conditions for much of South America, the dry conditions also for the southern part of Africa, while the Sahel of Africa has seen very good rains, and this is consistent with the climate models that were produced by the IPCC just yesterday. We also saw drier than normal conditions, although suitable for agriculture still, for the eastern and central part of India, while much wetter than normal conditions persisted this last month for the northern part of India, leading to landslides. We see drier than normal conditions for much of Southeast Asia, and also wetter than normal conditions for the eastern part of Europe. Now, when we look to the next 15 days, we see dry conditions being manifest in the Corn Belt of the United States, and we'll talk a little bit more about this later. But also heavy rainfall is in the forecast for the Carolinas of the United States. Heavy rainfall again coming to the southern part of China. A little drier conditions than normal for India. When we look to maximum temperature the last 30 days, we have been commenting about the above normal conditions, especially in the western part of Canada. Now that's shifted over a little bit into the central part of Canada, the United States. A little cooler than normal conditions for the eastern states, as well as slightly cooler conditions for the Sahel across to Ethiopia, and a little cooler conditions for the central part of Europe. But we see warmer than normal conditions the last 30 days for the western part of Russia and eastern states of the EU, as well as warmer than normal conditions for Argentina. When we look to maximum temperature for the next 15 days, we see increased significantly temperatures above normal for the Corn Belt of the United States, as well as eastern Canada. Brazil also showing much warmer than normal conditions, as is the case for southern Africa, as well as for Kazakhstan and the central part of Russia, as well as warmer than normal conditions for Spain and Italy and Greece. And so this is a problem in fighting the fires, which we're going to be talking about now. So when we look to Greece and the northeast Mediterranean, we see that rainfall patterns early in the year in January were very good. The blue bars were well above the long-term normal shown in yellow. However, once we got April, the rainfall dropped off significantly compared to the long-term normal, and that persisted all the way through the summer, and including lower than normal rainfall in the forecast, making it extremely difficult to contain these fires in Greece. Compounding this has been the fact that the temperature has been about 4 or 5 degrees Celsius above normal for this part of Greece. So when these factors come together, this has led to very difficult conditions for controlling wildfires, and you've seen in the news entire islands of Greece burning because of these unusual conditions. Now, one of the interesting things about the assessment report number 6 is that they're showing in one of their maps, hexagons, areas that are going to be experiencing heavy rainfall around the world. And you can see that, especially for much of Europe, that this is going to be the case. And it's also the case for the southern part of Africa and some parts of South America, as well as northern Australia. But when we look to how this actually translates to agriculture or ecological drought, we see that even in these areas that will be having higher rainfall extreme events, this doesn't necessarily manifest itself in improved conditions to support agriculture. And so with the exception of the northern Australia, all of the rest of these areas will be experiencing increased incidence of drought. And this points then to the need for better localized observed weather data to help farmers manage increased rainfall variability and the drought conditions that are likely to result. Now, when we look to precipitation for the next 15 days, we see good rainfall for the northern part of South America and parts of Mexico, good weather to support agriculture as far as good rainfall in the Sahel of Africa, as well as reasonably good rainfall across most of India, but especially the eastern part of India and also the southern part of China. When we look to rainfall anomalies for the next 15 days and zooming into North Carolina, we see that just east of Asheville, rainfall for the summer has been a little bit below normal, but the next 2 weeks we'll see approximately 5 inches or 12 centimeters of rain. And this has been one of the big challenges of rainfall variability due to climate change, is that our infrastructure is no longer equipped to handle extreme runoff events associated with extreme rainfall. And so just a word of caution to this part of the United States that, erosion and water-related damage may occur with this intense rainfall event. When we look to the critical ratio of precipitation over potential evapotranspiration, we see Western Canada, the United States, have been dry from an agriculture or forest perspective. Also dry conditions for most of South America with the exception of the northern part, as well as dry conditions in southern Africa and northern Africa with good growing conditions for West Africa and the Sahel, as well as good growing conditions for most of India, as well as the southern part of China, and also good growing conditions for Southeast Asia despite the lower than normal rainfall that part of the world has seen for the last several months. When we zoom into Niamey, Niger, in West Africa, we see that this critical ratio has slightly increased over time from a value a little bit below 1.0 to a value well above 1.0. The problem, though, is the variability of this ratio year over year makes it very difficult for farmers to know when to plant their crops, what crops to plant, especially in years such 2015, in which the rainfall was extremely low and the value of this index almost zero. You can see that last year this index was around 2, which is twice the normal level, while this year it's hovering a little bit above 1. Now when we go to P over PET for the next 15 days, we see that dry conditions are going to be penetrating into the Corn Belt of the United States, while we'll see that rainfall event in the Carolinas manifest to that index being well above 1, as well as above 1 for the northern part of South America, but dry conditions persisting across most of North America, as well as Southern Africa, Northern Africa, and good agriculture conditions for West Africa and the Sahel, as well as for India and southern China. If analytics like this are of interest to you, go to our adapter platform, apps.aware.com, where you can start your weather analytics journey for free. Until next week, enjoy the reading on the IPCC Assessment Report number 6. Take care.